Hello, my Peugeot 207 have let me down. This is not necessarily a negative review about the Peugeot, um, because I somehow expected that the car will soon give me some kind of a problem because it has 240,000 kilometers, and most of those kilometers have been done in a very hot environment in Malta and very short distances. So I would actually say it's much more than 240,000 kilometers, but it let me down because at the moment in my life I'm doing some changes. I had some important appointments to do, and I'm very short of money, so this situation came in a very in a very not in the ideal time, let's put it that way. But as we know in life, when you are facing some problems, probably other problems are going to be created. It's the law of attraction, right? In a negative way, the universe, if you put negative things out there, negative things will come back. Anyway, as I said, the car has 240,000 kilometers. About 2-3 weeks ago, before Christmas, this is January 4th, the car was smoking white from the silencer. This is a diesel car, and I didn't take notice of it because I'm not used to being for a long time in the cold, and I just thought it's condensation. But then for some reason I went out of the car actually to throw away something in a rubbish bin, and I noticed that the car is smoking a lot of white and smelling sweet. So then what I did, I checked other cars because again I thought it's just because of the cold, but I noticed that the other cars, even diesel ones, you can notice from the sound, they weren't putting out white smoke. So it actually does put white smoke at the beginning of the starting, but it was not as thick as mine, and most cars weren't because they were probably warm already. I'm going to be very honest, usually I check things immediately. This time I didn't have the mental energy to check, so I left it and I continued driving it, it was very cold. I didn't have the proper clothing, so even just going out to check some things near the engine bay, my hands were getting very cold immediately. And as I said, I had other challenges in life, so I didn't take care about that. But the car was also starting rough at the beginning. It's like it was working on three or two cylinders. I don't know if that's possible. I'm not an engine expert, but and that was done just for a very few seconds, 3-5 seconds, something like that. But anyway, I thought again it's because it's cold. So then warm weather came back. The weather was about -10 degrees. Then suddenly it came +10 degrees, and the car was okay. It was smoking a little bit of white, but only a little bit. Maybe in half an hour it smokes that little bit for 1 second when you press the gas. From when I noticed, because I can only notice from the rear view mirrors and depending on the wind. I thought I even thought more that it was related to cold. But 2 weeks after I checked it, I should be ashamed about this. I left it so long, but to be honest, I didn't drive the car so much, and I realized that the coolant reservoir was empty, completely empty, zero. I didn't take care also because I didn't see any warning lights or hot engine. The temperature remained as usual, 90 or below, and also the temperature when you go uphill, for example, for long distance, it goes maybe 85, 90, and then as soon as you come into a level road, immediately within seconds it comes down again. So I didn't think that there was something wrong with the coolant, but I should have checked. I checked it, and the reservoir was empty. Then I filled it up. Actually, I filled it up yesterday evening, because I called my mechanic and I asked, and the car probably had just the reservoir empty. In fact, next day after I drove it, I checked it, and the level didn't go up or down. But I made a lot of research about this, and probably it's going to be a huge, massive expense, more than the car costs. So I really don't know what I'm going to do. Probably it's a head gasket leak, which I think happened with the very cold weather. As I said, this car was usually in very hot weather. You know, when there are temperature changes, metal changes the size maybe in a different way, and maybe the gasket gave way in that way. I also checked the oil, if it's milky, to see if water is mixing with the oil, and the oil wasn't milky. It wasn't, there was no oil missing or anything. So, and then today I came to the mechanic, and we came to the conclusion that I have to come back to the mechanic, leave it with him for about 4 hours so he can drive it, make it hot, and then they check the cylinders. From what I understood, he will check the cylinders next morning with a camera. I don't know the name, telescopic camera. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. And they will see if there is water in the cylinders. The water hasn't gone down, by the way, on the reservoir, but I only drove it for about 8 kilometers, 10 kilometers, enough to bring the car warm a little bit, not fully warm, and so maybe the water wasn't used, I don't know. I also checked to see if there was pressure. Again, I'm not an expert, it's from the research I did and from the few experience I have. The radiator pipes, the rubber ones, obviously, if you're going to do this, be very careful because it's hot over there, to see if there is pressure in them. But I could press them like I could press them when it's cold, which probably means there isn't too much pressure in the cooling system. So if you want to know more about this, subscribe, and please tell me your experience about Peugeot or any other car if this happened to you. I hope it's not a big issue. 99% it's the cylinder head gasket. I don't think there's another reason, but the mechanic said also, since the car is starting rough, we are also going to check something with the glow plugs, the heaters that heat the fuel before it goes straight into the engine. So let's see what happens next. I will keep you updated. And the mechanic already said that if you need a change of head gasket, it's not worth repairing this car. But I have to see, because cars now, this car maybe costs, I mean, not now, a year, 2 years ago, it costed about €2,000. It's a good car, apart from this problem. I don't know how much it costs now, but definitely more, because prices for cars went up because of the what's going on in the world at the moment, and other reasons also probably. So please do comment and let's share this experience. So Tell me your experience. Have your car let you down in the most time when you needed it, like it happened to me? In fact, I also asked the mechanic if I shall put head gasket sealant in the car, but he said let's check before, so we see if the hole in the gasket is too big or small, and we see what's weird in the situation when considering pricing and everything. Thank you for watching. I hope this brought some information about you. As I say again, this is not something bad about Peugeot. I never had any issues. I will mention some issues I had over here in a link on a review on this car I did about 3 years ago, which were small issues that were solved, like the brake booster was changed, but I think I know why, and it's explained in that video. I will also provide a link in the description of this video. And I also changed the windscreen washer pump, which was about €7, very cheap. But that was my fault, because I was another time in very cold weather and I didn't put antifreeze water bed on me. Yeah, I'm going to end this video here. Fingers crossed I won't have big expenses, and I will update you what's going to happen next. Bye.